try to play, but you're never gonna beat me. Look the other way, what I'm doing ain't easy. Bloody hands stained from the people who deceive me. Muddy hands break through the chains, go free me. Looking for change, looking for pain, pulling a mob, pushing a train. I'll never stop, stick to a lane, pick up the pieces and go rearrange. I'll be the best above all the rest, put me to the test and expect nothing less. You check as I'm chess, what's happening next? Yeah. He got the venom, a tangible weapon, no coming in second. This life is a lesson. He got a new engine from pain, it's a blessing. New focus, no guessing, just bold and obsession. All in his possession, you got their attention. I leave an impression and take a redemption. Just kill, no discretion. Your mind is a weapon. 11-11, it's time for progression. You could try to play, but you're never gonna beat me. Look the other way, what I'm doing ain't easy. Bloody hands stained from the people who deceive me. Muddy hands break through the chains, go free me. People like sheep move feet, hurt it easy. You don't wanna be fast asleep when they scheming. Better stand tall, ready for a fight, believe me. When they try the chains, you can say no, free me.
Right off the get-go in today's video, we got a problem with the front end of the frame here. I'll show you what I mean. You can see the difference just by looking at it. This one's like kind of curved up and weird. Maybe it's not justifiable on film. Let me get the measuring tape. So we measure this side to the top plate here. We get about, well, let's go in line with this hole for the rad support. Get about 20.5, right? We go on this side, do the same exact measurement. We got 22. Means about 2 inches off. 1.5 inches off total. And if you look down the frame this way, look straight down the frame, more or less. This kind of curves off to the outside here. If you look at this one, it's straighter. So I was going through various ideas for solutions, and at first I was gonna kind of channel it and bend it back into place, but I've decided I'm just gonna chop this whole piece right off, put it on the bench, figure out how much I gotta take off of it, take off of here or the other side. These lines is a rough idea, but if I just pull it off, I'll know exactly how much I have to move it. I'll weld it back on straight up, grind it up, make it look clean, because the only thing it's really gonna hold is the fenders and the hood, which will be stripped completely bare. So I'm just gonna get to work like usual. The rest of this might be a voiceover. Let's see what happens, who knows. Enjoy the show.
Welcome back, dudes. Thanks for sticking around. As you just saw, we did some stuff. We got a problem here. So I'm gonna start getting into it by first cutting off that front piece. I did some lines of exactly where it's gotta come off, the difference in size between the two sides. It might not look like it too much in the video, but I actually took my time and really planned this out and really figured this out, and I'm not sure exactly what happened with the chassis, with the frame. I noticed there was a bit of damage on the body panels and stuff like that when we first originally took them off, which leads me to believe that this thing was either lightly hit, maybe hit pretty hard considering all the straightening I've had to do to the frame already, but that corner was really off, and to be honest with you, I did a lot of cutting and a lot of fabrication on that corner, so it could either be it was hit or it was used as a towing location, or quite possibly the most of the damage done to this, the most of the bends, the most of the distortion that was done was because of the fabrication that it did on the chassis. Now if you go back to very, very, very early videos, you'll see that I took a huge chunk out of the front. I took the cross member out, which is replaced now by the subframe that you're looking at right now, and also I cut a lot of the frame rail out to clear the new subframe, to clear the steering, and I had to box it in after. So basically the whole corner of that frame was cut down to almost nothing. The shocks were all removed, the spring housing, the cup, everything that was there. I took probably like 50 pounds of metal off the front of this truck. So with everything gone and with all the metal and the heat and everything being welded back into it, I'm sort of thinking that maybe most of the, like I said, the damage, the warping, the twisting that was done on this chassis was done by the fabrication, the heat from the welding. So either way, I had to fix it a little bit, try to make it more line up, because the whole point of this front end, this little piece that sticks out, ultimately that's what's holding up my rad support and my front bumper, everything that's on the front of the truck. So to make sure that that is straight, I keep calling it a truck, you can call it a car, a truck, whatever you want. But the idea is to make that all straight and line up. I want the body to line up, obviously. That's gonna be a lot of work because I have to make my own custom body mounts in most places. So the straighter I can get it from the bottom up, the better. Moving on right now, I'm drilling some holes in some metal, because that's where the top of the shock is going to go through. I got to take my stepper bit, make them a little bit bigger because the top of that shock has a rubber bushing, keep in mind. And I'm going to have to make sure that all fits in there. So I'm drilling the holes first because that's the part where you want that clamped down really well. And then it goes to cutting. Here I'm cutting some pieces to make some shock mounts. The sides, I'm going to triangulate it. We'll get there in a second. I got my shop assistant. As always, it seems that you guys enjoy seeing Letty on the screen. That's my dog. She's a bull terrier. She's about 6 years old. We do animal rescue, and that's how we ended up with her. If you can tell by my shirt, my girlfriend's really into animal rescue. If you notice, there's a lot of animals around me. I had a cat in the last video. I got another one here again. Anyway, I'm going to cut that crap. So now that the holes are big enough, I'm cutting the pieces out of the metal, kind of squaring it off. These are going to be the top parts of the shock mount where the shock kind of sits in. Just got to get them clean enough to make it fit into the project. And essentially, I'm going to have to redo all these over and over again probably, but I'm just doing them right now to make sure everything fits. Everything is kind of like a test template sort of deal. So what I'm doing is I'm making shock brackets that'll actually hold the shocks in place where they're going to be, make sure it fits, check all my clearances on my suspension. That way the suspension can travel, it can work, and I don't have to worry about any sort of interference anywhere. When it's time to take it all apart and try to make it look good, I'm going to focus more on these. I'm going to clean them up nicely. I'm going to make them look good. I'm going to make them all flow good. I'm going to make sure they're welded good and strong. But for now, it's a lot of cutting, a lot of stitch welding, a lot of just spot welding. Just enough to make it hold together strong enough that you could potentially bang on it with a hammer if you needed to, or take it off with a grinder real quick if that may be the case too. So there I'm putting the top piece on the shock. You can see the hole fits nicely around the bushing, the rubber that's in there. Now it's gonna, I guess, make it a smoother ride, make it feel better. It's probably better for the shock too. A lot of this chassis, the whole truck has been solid mount so far. I'm starting to rethink that because it might be pretty crazy. It might be a lot of vibrations that'll shake loose a lot of these welds and sheet metal and stuff I was worried about in previous videos, like the bead weld, the bead rolling. That's why I did that, just to make it all stronger. So I'm babbling like crazy, but here I'm putting in the back piece, making sure that fits in a good spot. Put a couple tacks on it, make sure it's solid, it's not going to pop off. Match the same thing on the other side. And then, like I said, I'm going to try and triangulate it a little bit. I'm going to put 2 more pieces so that there's at least 3 sides holding this. It's all going to tie back into the chassis. It's all going to kind of lock into the side of the chassis. So I'm going to have to probably make a little bracket that goes over the top of it. But I have to keep in mind it's got to clear all my bolts for my A-arms, all my adjustment for my alignments. It's all like one big puzzle. The front end has actually proven to be pretty challenging. Putting it in wasn't as hard as I thought it would be. I thought the rear end, just mounting the subframe in the back and putting the diff and everything in it, was going to be the easy part. That turned out to be the hard part. And getting the subframe and everything to fit in the front turned out to be the easy part. Now, what's going on in the front is there's so many mechanical things moving around and so much to do that it's just a giant puzzle, and you have to make sure it all works and flows together. It doesn't bind, it doesn't get stuck anywhere, it doesn't get pinched up anywhere. So that's where I'm getting at now. Parts of the puzzle. I made some brackets, and there's all kinds of cool, there's brackets coming for the sway bar, everything else. I made the end links, I made the shock towers. Anyways, we're just trying to get this all bolted together because it's crazy puzzle. It's been a lot of fun. We're still moving forward. Like, comment, subscribe. Thanks for sticking around. See you in the next video. Peace out.
If you can't fix what you're doing, it's fire. You're a driver. It was hard to know.